Welcome, everybody. Happy Saturday afternoon. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We are here, the Step Back second episode with my good friend Josh. How you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic just because the NBA is a week away. We're less than a week away. It's this Tuesday. I'm very excited to see my Knicks have the season that we deserve. So, I mean, coming into this season, I'm more excited than I honestly have ever been for the NBA because I think the Knicks have a legit title shot. So, I'm really excited.
That's awesome to hear. I hate to disappoint you, but it probably ends in the Eastern Conference Finals. But you know what? We'll get there when we get
I mean,
there.
they're your pick too,
They are my
as
pick. They
well.
are my pick. But you know, I'm not a Knicks fan, so I won't be disappointed. Just be like, okay, whatever.
Listen, every year for the past couple of years, we make it a round further. Last year, we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. One round further to that is the NBA Finals. So
There you
we'll
go.
see how the trend continues.
That's a great way to have a positive look at it. Thank you for everybody that's joined us in the chat. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. This is the Step Back, a new show that we are doing here on the Good Friends Better Rivals channel about basketball. We're going to be talking some really cool things all year, and this week we're going to start off with some fun early predictions. I think it's too early to predict. Probably our list will probably be wrong. We'll do awards, we'll do playoffs and things like that. But we're also going to be breaking down storylines that happened during the year. So appreciate you all being here. Make sure to check out in the description all the links to all the shows, what time they are at, and if you would like to support the channel, there's also links for that. As you can see across the scroller, make sure to check all that good stuff out. Really appreciate it. A lot of people put in a lot of time on this channel. So we really appreciate the support that you guys give us. All right, Josh, we're going to start it off before we get into our predictions and all that good stuff and all that fun stuff. We are going to talk about a couple things. LeBron James, I am a Lakers fan. He's going to be out. Looks like they're targeting mid November, but he's going to be out at the beginning of the season with sciatica. Um, I'm assuming sciatica is sciatica nerves, meaning the is pushing down on the nerve in your back, which makes sense because the older you get, that happens a lot of when, especially when you're jumping up and down. A lot of ex wrestlers get that, from pro wrestling, things like that. So it makes sense. And LeBron's older; he's been in the league for a long time, but he's going to miss the first month of the season, which is giving basically Luka to run the team along with their added players that they picked up from free agency and last year's players. Do you think this is going to affect the Lakers in any way at the start of the season? Is this good for LeBron? What's your overall thoughts on this situation with LeBron?
I'm not sure it's good for LeBron because there was also a comment about like, oh, he'll be evaluating the Lakers like progress or just like as he is out. So there's been always this thing with LeBron, like at least this offseason, how committed is he to the Lakers? Is he going to try and like get his way out because he's not the number one anymore? What I will say is for the Lakers overall, there is a very positive spin you can put on this. With the because if the Lakers want to be a title contender, they want to have the best possible season. I think it has to run through Luka, and the fact that Luka has a month basically to get back into number one player shape, also, but the play without LeBron and try and get back into that form where he's leading a team, I think that could be great. LeBron's older, so he's going to need more rest, and if you're going to get rest, you may as well try and get it at the beginning of the season rather than later in the season. But this is a little nerving because if you want any chance of winning the title, not only do you need Luka at your best, and this might give the Lakers a chance to get Luka back into the groove and back into his number one, possibly MVP form. You need LeBron healthy, and the fact that he's already dealing with some injuries makes you nervous. How it's already amazing he can hold up, not only hold his body can hold up, but be a starter and one of the best players in the NBA at his age. But to be healthy, when they need him is going to be very important.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, just want to shout out everybody in the chat. What's up, Brandon Buckingham? What's up, Jay the Six? Appreciate you. Go Suns. I mean, that's what you got to root for now because baseball season's over for you. Jay the Six. Slim Lucas scoring a triple double at an arena near you. Luka's been playing FIFA. He's more than just in shape. Yeah, I was going to point that out. But for let's start off with the LeBron news for me. Um, Obviously, injuries suck, and he's got to take some the first couple weeks off. Understandable, but you're right. That quote of evaluate the Lakers and see where they're at. And I think as a longtime Laker fan, this is one of the things that Laker fans and LeBron fans fight over because people want to say, well, LeBron's one of the greatest Lakers of all time, and Laker fans say, pump your brakes. He hasn't really done anything. Granted, he brought a championship, the bubble championship, but he hasn't earned that like Laker respect. And when you release quotes like that, it is frustrating because it's like, what are you evaluating? This, let's be 100% honest. LeBron James has probably been GM number two with the Lakers. They're basically doing what LeBron wants and putting the team together he wants. If that's the case, these are all the pieces you wanted. Why do you have to evaluate it? It doesn't like, what are you evaluating? Instead of just saying, "Hey, this is my last year. I'm done after this. I can't go anymore." Or, you know what? I don't know how much time I have in me, but I'm going to try to get through this year, and then we'll see where we go from there. Like, it's frustrating. Like, this was the thing that a lot of people were upset with last year. He got his son drafted. His son is taking up a roster spot, which they could have used to better the team, but they put it on. They gave Bronny a contract. They gave him a roster spot, sent him down to G League, things like that. So they're doing everything to cater to you because you're a great player. But then now in the beginning of the season, you want to say, well, I got to see where we're at. Like, that is frustrating as a Lakers fan, and why a lot of Lakers fans don't give him that, yeah, you're a top, five Laker. Like, he's been with the Lakers now. It's going to be like 6, 7 years, I believe. Forgot when he signed. I think it was 2020, right? 2019, maybe. But you've been with the Lakers for a while now, and when you say things like that, that's what like turns off Laker fans to LeBron. And there's LeBron fans that have become Laker fans, but like Laker fans that have been here for, Kobe years, Shaq years, the Power years, things like that. When you say things like that, it kind of ruffles feathers because it's like, what do you mean you have to evaluate where the Lakers are at? Like, you should know where the Lakers are at already, and you should either say I'm in or I'm out, one of the two. Not and that's the problem with a lot of people with LeBron. It's the half in, half out that I just don't care for. Um,
Absolutely. And like it's one of those things where LeBron has done this in a lot of places he's gone to. He's done this in Cleveland to try and push for greater trades. He's done this a lot of different times. And the question just comes down to is like what's the reason? Is he just hinting towards his retirement? Is he saying I might want out? Is he trying to pressure the Lakers organization to make one more all-in move?
mm.
Like maybe trade a draft pick or two for one more player or something like that? It's kind of unclear. I don't 100% understand the comments, but I think my question for you, as a Lakers fan, do you think that LeBron missing the month helps hurts the Lakers' overall playoff chances and overall title chances, or
I
it
think
doesn't
it.
matter?
I think it helps because he needs rest. He's an older player. He's been playing for a long time. And like you said, it's gotta run through Luka if we want to be successful, and LeBron has to kind of become that second option. Um, he's gonna need the rest, and if he's battling this injury, it's totally understandable to take time off. I think we're good enough to we'll win a couple games. We might lose some, but it's not it's not that big of a deal in the beginning of the season. The issue with LeBron missing and making these comments is, does that hurt team morale? Does that, hey, we're all about trying to win a championship here, but now you're saying, well, I got to see where we're at. That if I'm a role player, that's concerning. And I see like Ferris saying, well, it's not a regular roster spot that he got Bronny in, but that doesn't really matter. That could be used for somebody else that could help the team. Like it just I don't like the thought that you had the Lakers do all these things. Like, let's go back to a few years ago. He got Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. That was a train wreck. They signed Carmelo Anthony for him. That was a train wreck. They traded players for him. They've done all these things for LeBron. They went and got AD.
And that did give them a championship, to be fair. Like
That did give him a
if,
championship.
if LeBron is considered a GM, yes, he'll be criticized for the mistakes. But I do feel like sometimes when we talk about LeBron the GM, we don't credit him enough. When it's like, oh, he actually, if he's the GM, he's a GM of a title-winning team. To be fair,
That's true, and he did it in Cleveland as well. So you got to give him that. But at the same time, what a lot of people have accused LeBron of doing is he gets all these things he wants, then he leaves the team, and now the team is in shambles. The Cavs. The Cavs went through this, and they've recovered now. And for the Lakers, is that going to happen to us? Are we going to be stripped down? We got rid of a lot of our core for LeBron, and pieces that he wanted. The other guys like the Brandon Ingrams, the Josh Harts, the Randall. I forgot his first name, but who played for
Julius Randle.
Julius Randall. I couldn't think of his name. Like all these young players that we still could have had. Um, we gave them away to get players LeBron wanted. So to say that now you have to evaluate the Lakers and where they're at, I think it's more frustrating than the actual injury. Like if it was just like
I completely get what you're saying. I will say I think the Lakers are very, very well set up to deal with a post LeBron future just because they got Luka. And like for one said, like if LeBron leaves, you still have your superstar.
yeah,
And
that's all a good thing.
that's huge.
Yeah,
And like what I'll also quickly say is like this month is going to be very important to see which pieces step up. Who is going to be a part of a core that can possibly make a playoff run? And I think this is where, speaking of LeBron's friend in a way, this is where JJ Redick has to show what he's worth in a way. This
yeah,
is
for
like
sure.
this is a huge, huge season for JJ Redick. I think the first season it was low expectations because the previous season before that went very badly. He had a very good regular season, but then lost in the playoffs in the first round. But everyone was like, "Well, the Luka LeBron thing was such a surprise. The roster wasn't built for the Luka LeBron thing." Okay, you had an offseason now to build for Luka and LeBron to play together. You're going to have to deal with some LeBron injuries. Like this is going to be very important for JJ to try and get the most out of all the non-LeBron Luka players, and we'll see if he can do it this beginning month without LeBron.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing I'll say about it is just I hope that he gets better. He comes back from his injury, and he can lead the Lakers with Luka to a championship. And like you said, this is really going to test JJ Redick and see if he was worth getting him as a coach, because he's going to have to use his coaching skills to really get this team going in the right direction till LeBron gets back. And even then, you're going to have to do more, because you're going to have to be able to play him, but also play him at low minutes, low maintenance, and keep him healthy until we get to the playoffs. Um,
Absolutely, and in playing with LeBron and playing without LeBron is going to be a huge adjustment. So even if they do start off hot without LeBron, then we're going to have to make another huge adjustment to adjust to LeBron's style and play with LeBron once he gets healthy and back into the lineup.
yeah. All right, we'll move on to our second story that happened. This just happened a couple days ago. Um, Russell Westbrook is signing with the Sacramento Kings. He got a minimum salary. I believe he was with the Denver Nuggets, and he moves on to the Kings, who have a lot of depth in Dennis Schroeder, Malika Monk, and Zach Levine. Um, do you think this hurts the Kings?
I mean, the Kings are in a very weird spot, or not a weird spot, but they're like in. If they were in the East, I might be more forgiving of this move, but what they're building is a previous Chicago Bulls roster with an aging Russell Westbrook. They have Sabonis, they have DeMar DeRozan, they have Zach LaVine, they have Westbrook. Those are all fine players, and they have a lot of fine players. And this looks like a team that can compete for a play-in and maybe at best be like the 6 or 7 seed. But I don't think anyone here believes the Kings' ceiling changes by signing Russell Westbrook. I don't think what you're shooting for is mediocrity or not embarrassment. I think I would be very surprised if someone was like Sabonis, Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine at this stage will put you in the championship title. I don't think anyone's like that. This will make you more competitive for the play-in, and if you want to be more competitive for the play-in, hey, that's on you. But long term, I don't really understand what the Kings are doing. I'm not sure if the Kings know what they're doing long term because they can't fully take with the people they have on the roster at the moment, but they also can't fully go for it because they clearly don't have the pieces. So the Westbrook thing, I guess, secures you more for not being an embarrassment. But it's just it. I have a lot of questions and concerns about the long term of this franchise, especially if it's just shooting for mediocrity at this moment.
Yeah, and first points out they were the second seed a couple years ago, but I believe a couple years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong.
It was a
I would,
completely different team. It was
yeah,
built
that's what I was
around
gonna say.
Fox and Malik Monk is still on the team, but it was built on this fast paced style, and like they don't have that type of offense anymore when you're so reliant on DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, in my opinion, and now especially Westbrook. Probably not going to be shooting as much threes. They had a different coach. I believe Mike Brown was the coach in that moment, and you thought they had a interesting young core and they could build around Fox. But now that Fox is gone, I don't I don't know what you're doing because what the Westbrook deal does, in my opinion, it means you're not going to be bad enough to be in the number one pick conversation, which is might be bad long term, especially if this draft class is going to be really really good. So I don't. It's sure you can be in the play-in, sure, but
Yeah, maybe bottom of the playoffs, but you're not winning a championship with Westbrook at this point.
I mean,
He's
I guess
too
it
old.
sells tickets and it's more entertaining, you know? I mean, like,
Yeah,
people will pay to see Westbrook, and he always puts on a show.
yeah, but the Sacramento Queens. I mean, come on, they're the Sacramento Queens. We don't take them
Kings,
seriously.
yes.
No, they're the Queens. They're the Queens. In LA, we call them Queens. Uh,
That's fair.
but yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch that for the rest of the year and see how that goes with Russell Westbrook and the Kings. All right, let's move on to some of our other subjects. Do you want to do the playoffs first or the
Yeah, let's
awards?
do the playoffs. So, we'll start with the West. Because we went over, by the way, if you haven't seen our last episode, we went over the five teams in the conference that have the best chance to win the title. We're going to quickly go over our top six, and we'll see if we have any differences. I assume we both have the Thunder in the playoffs, correct?
Yes, I have the Thunder in the playoffs.
Yes, we both have the Rockets in the playoffs, correct?
Yeah, yes,
We both have the Nuggets in the playoffs, correct?
yes,
We both have the Lakers in the playoffs.
yes. Are you putting them in your order?
I've been doing my I have the Lakers 4, yes.
Okay, I have the Lakers three. So who's your one? Obviously, the Thunder.
Yes, 1 is Thunder, 2 is Houston.
Okay, I have
3
the Rockets. I have the Rockets one, Thunder two, Lakers three. So we're different there. So who's your three?
slightly mine is the Nuggets.
Okay, I have them fifth. Who's your four?
My 4 is the Lakers.
Okay, I have the Timberwolves.
Hmm.
So let's talk about the top five first. So
Mhm.
you said you have Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers,
Lakers. And then my 5 is actually the Warriors.
the Warriors. Okay, I have the Rockets, Thunder, Lakers, Timberwolves, Nuggets.
Mhm.
So you have the. My question for you is the Warriors. Who? Why do you have them so high?
I think the team changed after they traded for Jimmy Butler. I think the Jimmy Butler Steph combo is really interesting. I like some of their young pieces. I do think they have depth, and I'm not. And I don't think they can. They will compete in the top of the West in the regular season, but I think they'll be around the 5 and 6 seed, and they'll be a dangerous 5 and 6 seed. And I'm the type of person who also, when it comes to the stars, I'm just not going to count out Steph. He has been so incredible every single year. I think Butler will alleviate the pressure that Steph is under to carry his team, and also Steve Kerr is a coach I trust. I think there's a lot of pieces to like about this Warriors team. So that was my main reasoning.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, I and for the same reason I have him in the, uh, above the eighth seed. But I think that you got an aging Draymond Green. I do trust Steve Kerr, but at some point, coaching gets stale. So I think the younger players might not be so all in with the Steve Kerr. Obviously, Steph's a superstar and Hall of Famer, so he can carry you. And I'm kind of opposite with you on the Jimmy Butler thing. I think the talent will carry them, but I don't. I think it's like a weird mix. It's almost like the Westbrook when Westbrook and LeBron were playing together in the Lakers. Like they'll win games, but it's a weird mix. It's not what you think it would be. So I don't have the Nuggets as high as you do.
I mean,
I think
Warriors.
sorry, the Warriors. I think the Timberwolves are still a young, hungry team. I think they can still be up there. I'm betting on the Lakers, LeBron being healthy and Luka transforming that team and all their pieces fitting together. But I think the Rockets to me are the ones that are going to really burst out the gate. They have a coach that's very defensive minded, and then you have an also offensive player like Kevin Durant, which I think the Rockets. You look at them and you say, okay, what were they missing? And they were missing that guy that could score, the guy that could take a game over. They have him now, but they're still a defensive team. They still got pieces around them, young pieces. So I think they're going to be that team. And obviously the Thunder are a great team. They're young too.
I 100% agree, and I have the Rockets in the finals, as we talked about in the last episode. I just don't know if they're going to have a better regular season than the Thunder. I think the Thunder is a regular season juggernaut.
Yeah, Nuggets are in my top five. I believe Jokic is just that good. The question is always Jamal Murray, and his health and everything like that. But I think Jokic will carry that team. All right, let's go 6 through 10 or 6 through 8, and
Absolutely.
then we'll do
So,
the two play in. So you're
so
six
I'll
through 8.
quickly say my six is the Timberwolves. I have them and the Warriors basically the same record. I think they're both going to be 50 plus wins. I think it's going to be a toss up between who's the five and who's the six.
Okay.
They're in the very same category for me. Who was your six?
My six is the Mavs. I have the
Mm,
Mavs. I think they're going to be able to, obviously with having the roster they do, AD. Um,
Cooper Flag. They
no,
just
I was
signed
thinking,
D'Angelo
yeah, yeah,
Russell, and
but
Clay is also a respectable
plays,
one. And
yeah, but Kyrie Irving is hurt, right? Toward
yes,
ACL.
yes,
Okay,
he is
okay,
hurt for the beginning of the season.
yeah. So I think that's still a good group of talent that can carry them in the West. So I think toward the end of the year we're gonna see where they're at, how much Cooper Flag has developed, and how much he helps his team. But I think they're still going to be a 16. Well, who's
They're
your
my eighth seed. They
okay?
are my eighth.
Who's your
I
seventh?
My seventh is the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, okay. I don't have them that high. I have Golden State.
Hmm. My take on the San Antonio Spurs is I think if Wemby is a top 5 to 6 player, which a lot of people believe he is, assuming he's healthy, I think Dylan Harper is going to be up there for Rookie of the Year, and I think he is going to add some depth. We just had the previous Rookie of the Year with Stephen Castle. Hopefully, Fox will be healthy as well. I think there's a lot of interesting talent on that team. I think they surged a little at the end of last season, even with Wemby injured. I think I have a general thing where I just trust stars, and like I think if Wemby is going to be a top 5 player, if he's going to be in the MVP discussion, he's got to get his team to the playoffs, and I think they will because I truly do believe in Wemby. I think he's going to be a clear difference maker this season.
Yeah, for sure. And uh, I totally agree with you. He was actually close to being my dark horse for MVP. Which case, obviously, then I would move the Spurs to a higher seed. But I think you're right. I actually have, and we'll get into awards. I have a Spur in one of the awards.
I
Um,
do too. I think we probably have the same one as my guess.
yeah, so assuming. So yeah, I have Golden State at number 7. We talked about that. Who's your number 8?
My number 8 was the Mavs. Who's your number 8?
Oh, the Grizzlies.
I actually have them out of not in the playoffs.
Oh wow. Okay.
In top. I'm not. I don't have them in top 10. I'm very low this year on the Grizzlies. I just have a weird vibe about them, and it's not really even that like logical. Honestly, I just the fact that they fired their coach so late in the season last year, trading away Desmond Bain, and like Jaw, it's tough. It's tough. They're very. I probably should have them in the top 10, but I think the West is so competitive. And I think if they were in the East, they would easily be in the playoffs for me. But in the West, there's so much competitive, so many teams that I think can fight for that 10 slot that in the end, I have them slightly out of the playoffs.
I thought you were going to go with the Lincoln Park right there. In the end, it doesn't really matter, but it's okay. All right. So who do you got as your two play-ins?
So the two other play-ins that don't make the playoffs I have is the Los Angeles Clippers and um, the New Orleans Pelicans.
These are your plans, right? To do the
Well,
play-in.
the 9 and 10 basically.
Yeah,
The
9 and 10.
7 and 8. I have the four playing teams are the Spurs, the Mavs, the um, Spurs, Mavs. I just said them.
Clippers.
Uh, Pelicans and Clippers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. For me, I got Golden State, Grizzly, Kings, Spurs. Kings and
Hmm.
Spurs are my 9 and 10. Um,
I
I
was
think what
deciding between Kings and Pelicans, and I was just like, I think the Pelicans are more fun. I think and I think the Kings are just a little more boring to me, and the Pelicans are more fun. And sometimes I will default to the more fun prediction,
there you
as you
go.
may see in my East one. I have one that's a little crazy.
So that's our West. I think I like our list. I think that's
Mhm.
pretty pretty legit. Let's go to the East then. We'll start off. Go ahead and start off with your top five.
Obviously, one seed is going to be the Knicks. Not going to be a debate, obviously. I'm very high on the Pistons. I have them as my 2 seed.
Oh wow. Okay.
Cavs as the 3 seed.
Okay.
Bucks as the 4 seed.
Okay.
Then my 5 seed is the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
The 6 seed is the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
And those are well. Let's start with the first six before we get into the playing team. So those are my six. What are your six?
So my six um, are. So I have the Knicks one, Cavs two, Bucks three, Pistons four, Magic five, Hawks six.
Nice. I really like the Hawks. They just missed out for me. They're 7 for me. They just back and forth between them and the Pacers, but I went with the Pacers. Tell me why you like the Hawks.
I think they're just that team that always sticks around. It's the East, so it's bad. So it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, the Hawks are just this great team. They're really not. It's just it's the East. It's so bad in the East, and so am I going to take like the Raptors over them? Am I going to take you know what was another team out there in the East, the Brooklyn Nets over
Mm.
them? Like no. So and I think if the Celtics and the Pacers stars weren't hurt, they would be like the play-in. But because those teams are so hurt, I think they're taking the advantage of their spot, whereas they wouldn't be so high.
I'm very interested in the Hawks going into the season because I think Trey Young can carry a team, as we saw to Eastern Conference Finals. They got Dyson Daniels, who is very good next to Trey Young and very good defensively. They traded for Kristaps Porzingis, and if Porzingis is healthy, that's going to be a very interesting combination. And they're a team that always kind of has depth.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested. I just had them slightly missing it with the 7th seed.
Okay.
Um, but going into I'm very interested in high on the Hawks. So my 7th seed is the Hawks.
Okay.
And this is a team, by the way, I don't have with a regular season record for in the 9 to 10 spot, but being the 8 seed and winning the play in. And I'm sure we disagree on this team. My 8 seed East predictions is the Washington Wizards.
I will say I don't disagree with you. I have them a little lower,
Mhm.
but okay, I see it.
Listen, my Washington Wizards take is I think CJ McCollum and Middleton are decent players where they're going to add a veteran presence to the room and have some young players I like with Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson, and Bial. I'm forgetting his last name, and I'm probably getting the first name wrong. But they got a lot of young talent. I think CJ McCollum is going to eat up the East in a way. Like he's always been in the West and kind of forgotten about because there's so many good guards in the West. I think this is a very interesting team that can surprise people, and I think they can be in the playing spot and possibly become the 8 seed. I'm very interested to see if they take the next step because if Sar takes the next step, Trey Johnson is a rookie who can score and add a lot of points. You got CJ McCollum, you got Chris Middleton, and you got some decent young players on the bench. I think this is a young team in a weak East that can kind of cause a little bit of noise.
Yeah, for sure. I go. And that was your seventh or your eighth?
8, my number
Who,
8 spot.
who was your number seven?
My number 7th is the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay. So we're just off by one. Seven
Yeah,
for me is the Bulls. I have the Bulls in the seven. Where did you have Orlando in the top five?
I had yeah, yes, I did have Orlando in my top 5.
Okay, so did I. Okay, so we're not off there. Okay, who was your eight, nine, and 10?
So just missing the playoff spot is the Boston Celtics as my number 9, and then my number 10. I went back and forth with this. I have the Raptors.
Okay,
I think the Raptors have a lot of like interesting pieces. I'm not sure how good it is long term and how much I believe in those pieces, but I think they can be the 10th spot in the play in and possibly maybe win a game in the play and maybe sneak into the 8 seed. But the East is so weak at the bottom. It's really like take your pick of which flawed team.
exactly. So yeah, I had eighth. I have Pacers. Nine. I have Celtics. 10. I have Wizards. So I'm there. I just don't have the Raptors in it. I don't think maybe a year from now they can do something, but I don't know for sure. I don't see them as a big time. And again, it's the East. The East is so weak. Maybe they could sneak in, but I don't really see it. So,
Absolutely.
all right, we're gonna move on to some award predictions.
Yes.
So, why don't you? I'll say the award. You give out yours, and we'll go. We'll just do your list first, and then we'll do mine. We can ask questions. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's start off with Rookie of the Year. Or actually, before we get into that, I know there were some comments. If we can go back up. Nuggets will show everybody. Spurs have so much talent. Just need to put it together. Absolutely, I agree with that. Zach Levine, Debo together doesn't do wonders. J to six. My dark horse for the East are the Raptors. A lot of 3 and D players and switchable on defense. So he agrees with you. Love what the Pistons are trying to put together. Absolutely, and that's one of the teams that we both agree. Even though they were a low seed last year, we think they can get up there in the East because the East is so weak. Again,
Absolutely.
I think if the Celtics and Pacers were not hurt, they would be like a 6-7, maybe a play-in team. But they could be a top five team with these injuries to these top teams. So
Absolutely.
uh,
So going to the awards, you want to do Rookie of the Year first,
yeah,
right?
let's start off with Rookie of the Year. Who you got?
Cooper Flag. I think if the Mavs are going to be a playoff team or close to the playoffs, and that means Cooper Flag is a producing member, I think he was the clear number 1 pick for a reason. I think he'll get a lot of recognition for his defensive efforts playing with such a playoff team, and I just think he's the most pro ready. Like it's the safest bet by a mile. I think is Cooper Flag Rookie of the Year.
Gotcha. Your six man of the year.
My sixth man of the year is Cole Anthony for the Bucks.
Okay.
I think Anthony can do a lot of scoring off the bench for the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to, if they are going to have some success, like top 4 seed, and they're going to have primetime games because they have Giannis. So I'm very interested to see. And I've been a Cole Anthony believer for a while. I just kind of watch him play, and I'm like, I think he can get a bucket. I think he's good enough to at least maybe swing one playoff game. You need those players that can like randomly swing a playoff game when they get hot, and I think Cole Anthony can do that the entire season and be a productive member off the bench.
Gotcha. Let's go with most improved
Most
player of
improved.
the year.
I have Andrew Nemhard. I think if the Pacers are going to be above water and one of the teams that will avoid the play-in and make the playoffs, I think it's more because Andrew Nemhard's going to be taking a step forward and be taking the 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 offensive capabilities and the burden, if you will, of carrying that team and being the force of that team. And I think he can do it. I watched his playoff run and he was incredibly clutch and incredibly good the entire run to the finals. And I would not be surprised at all if he has an incredible season that leads the Pacers to a top 6 seed.
Okay, defensive player of the year.
Wemby. I think Wemby would have won it last year if not for the injury. And I think the media is going to be on his side, especially if they are in a playoff team. And I think that we've been trying to give him this award previously. And I think he's going to get it this year, assuming he stays healthy.
Okay, and as far as MVP, and also give me a dark horse.
So my MVP is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he goes back to back. I think people will like the narrative will post award him like, oh, now that he won a finals, we can like give him another MVP. I think he's going to have one of the best numbers when it comes to like Jokic did this when after he won the MVP and won the finals, he won the next one. I think the very similar things going to happen with Shea. He's going to have awesome numbers. He's going to be the one seed, and I also think that like when you think about the MVP, normally you have to be a top 3 seed. Like it's very tough to win the MVP if your team isn't competing for the 1 seed. Usually you have to be a 1 or 2 seed. Sometimes a 3 seed can take it. And I think the Thunder is the clearest lock for the 1 seed. I think Shea's going to absolutely put up his numbers, and he's proven that he's one of the best players in the NBA. I think he wins back to back and cements himself as one of the greatest players, and at least having one of the greatest stretches in the league for sure. And my dark horse, as I said, to win the MVP, you have to be a top 3 seed. And if this team's a top 3 seed, I think he's going to get a lot of MVP buzz, and that's Cade Cunningham. If the Pistons are a 2 or 3 seed, and Cade is bringing the is carrying the Pistons to that. Even though the Pistons, I like the Pistons, I think they have a good roster. I still think it's a little bit of a flawed roster, and so if Cade can take that roster, bring them to a top 2 seed, put up the numbers, and look incredible, which I think he will. I think Cade Cunningham will at least be in the MVP talk for sure if that happens.
Yeah, for sure. Totally get where you're coming from on that. Kind of agree with you. I just want to look up something real quick. All right, and we'll go backwards for me. We'll start off with the MVP, um, and I just want to check something real quick. Okay, so we're talking about being a top seed, things like that. I think if this team's the top seed, he's going to win the MVP. Um, I think he'll be up there in scoring, and he leads his team. Even though this team was a number 2 seed, I think if he wins them, gets them to a number 1 seed, and the best team in the league, I think he'll win MVP, and that is Kevin Durant. Um, but he has to be high in scoring. I think he's got to get up there and lead them to number 1 um, to get those record those votes. Because I think Giannis and Nikola Jokic are going to be on his tail, and SGA. I think my dark horse is going to be Giannis. I think he's going to come back this year with something to prove. It's also, see what he wants to show people that he is still one of the best players in the league. We'll go defensive player for me. We both agree, Wemby. I think it's going to be Wemby. I think, like you said, the injuries kind of derailed that, but I think if he's healthy just the whole year and he can lead them to a top into the playoffs, I think they'll definitely get. He can definitely earn it. Most improved player, Ahmed Thompson from the Rockets. I think Kevin Durant's presence is going to help him improve this year, and I think with the Rockets being the number 1 seed, they're going to need him to improve to make that team go. So I have Ahmed Thompson, 6th man of the year. Now, probably we're going to get yelled at by you, Josh. Probably going to get yelled at by Ferris. But I think this guy's going to be coming off the bench this year because he played power forward for you guys, and I don't think it's going to work this year. I think that's going to be Josh Hart. Josh Hart is going to win 6th player of the year coming off the bench. I know he has some back issues right now, but I think for you guys to be that number 1 seed, he is going to have to produce at that high level coming off the bench. and giving you guys that spark off the bench. So I think that Josh Hart's going to win six man of the year. And my rookie of the year, he puts fear in people's hearts. Jeremiah Fears. That's why, just because of his name, he's going to win rookie of the year. So
That-
Jeremiah.
That's a, that's a very interesting pick for rookie of the year. It's funny. If I were to choose a rookie of the year from the Pelicans, I would have actually gone with Derek Queen. I think Derek Queen is going to be very interesting on the Pelicans, to say the least. Not to spoil one of my storylines. My only question with the MVP with Kevin Durant is I
Mm,
wonder if he, being a bit older, I wonder if he can carry the workload that an MVP has, even if he is a top two seed and stuff like that. Will he be able to play enough games? Will he be able to shoulder enough offense in the regular season, just because the MVP is a regular season award?
yeah,
So it's one of those things where I think Kevin Durant's going to be awesome in the playoffs, but will he be awesome enough to win the MVP is the question. But I do like the pick for sure, because if the Rockets are a top two seed again, they're going to get a lot of love. I think Ime Udoka, we didn't do Coach of the Year, but he would be up there 100% for Coach of the Year if they're the first or second seed. I think Amon Thompson is the betting favorite for most improved player for good reason. Like if I were to have to put a bet down, I think he absolutely would be up there. And also, I'll throw out one more rookie of the year. If I think the Wizards are an 8 seed, I think it's going to be partially because Trey Johnson's going to ball out.
okay,
So we also had another comment about VJ Edgercombe being rookie of the year, which I think is a very good pick given if Embiid is hurt, as Jay says, and someone has to step up besides Maxi. I think the 76ers, I'll be honest, I just don't know what to make of them. They're so injury prone. I don't know how healthy they're going to be. I believe in Maxi, and then I think I believe in McCain, but I have such a short sample size. Same with Edgercombe. I mean, he'll probably be good, but I also had a little more doubts of him coming into the draft than most people.
yeah,
So we're to see how that goes. It's a very weird roster, and I treat you could tell me anything like any future for the 76ers this year, and I would kind of believe it.
got you. All right. Once again, everyone, thank you for joining us right now. Really appreciate you. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. There's also links in the description. Make sure to check those out. We're going to move on to our next storyline, or our next subject, or I don't know what we even call it.
The
Subject.
starting
Yeah.
five. We're going to move on to our monthly starting five of the year, and this starting five, we're going to do top five storylines we're looking forward to see into this
Yes.
season. So I'm going to go from my number five to number one. I'll start off with number five.
Sure.
I think there are three teams that everyone expects to be bad, which is the Nets, the Hornets, and the Wizards. I think they're bad almost every single year, and I think everyone expects them to be bad. I think one of those teams, I think it's going to be the Wizards. I think one of those three teams is going to have a very shocking season, and especially in a weak East. Like I could see the argument for LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and if Con Knuckle is a really solid player, I could see the Hornets possibly being that. With the Nets, they do have some stuff and they have a lot of young talent. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Nets are much better than people think, even though everyone thinks they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think we're going to have a shocking bottom of the East team that will be either fighting for the play-in or even fighting for the playoffs.
Okay. All right. What's your number four?
My number four is the NBA West Pacific Division. I'm just interested to see all those teams. We have the Clippers, which is the oldest team in the NBA, but also like you can rely on them for good defense and at least be in the play-in or like possibly a 5 or 6 seed, but not going further. You have the Lakers, which is one of the most interesting teams in the league. The Warriors, that are one of the most interesting teams. Now the Kings, that have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Sabonis, Russell Westbrook. They won't be embarrassingly bad at the very moment. So like and then lastly, the Suns, which you haven't spent a lot of time talking about. I'm very interested to see this Devin Booker post um, post Kevin Durant's Suns. I'm interested to see, do they have any pieces? How good is Jalen Green in this new environment? Are they going to be playing worthy, or are they going to be bottom of the league? I think this is one of by far the most interesting divisions in the league. I think every single team is kind of like fascinating in its own way, and they're all going to be somewhat competitive and at least a reason to tune in. So like I'm very interested to see how this division shakes out and what order it shakes out. Who's number one and who's number five, very much.
Okay, number three.
My number three is the New Orleans Pelicans because the New Orleans Pelicans, I find them fascinating because they have two very interesting rookies with Fears and Queen. They have Zion and Trey Murphy, who are both very promising players, but coming off of injury. They have a lot of interesting pieces with Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, but also what I wonder with the Pelicans is like they kind of have to win because they traded away their first round pick for this year. So they have no incentive to tank. So I'm very curious to see, are they going to rely more on the veterans and not play Fears or Queen as much? Or are they going to try and develop Queen and Fears as much, even if it leads to more losing? I wonder how good Fears and Queen are going to be. How healthy is Zion going to be? Can Zion be maybe in the most improved player talk of award season and possibly be a top 15 player? Will they be in the play-in? Will they be in the playoffs? And once if things start to go badly for the Pelicans, like if they look like one of the worst teams in the NBA and they don't have their own pick, I'm very curious to see what that looks like because it's going to be like almost like a bad movie you can't turn away from, train crash in a way because you can't look away, but it's going to be bad on all sides if the Pelicans are not competitive this year. It's going to be like truly one of the worst case scenarios because they do not have their own pick.
100% agree. What's your next storyline?
Jalen Brown Celtics. So Jason Tatum's going to miss the majority of the season this upcoming year, and he's trying to come back. But even then, I'm very curious to see what Celtics look like when Jalen Brown is leading it. Because if Jalen Brown is leading the Celtics and they don't miss a beat, that says a little something about Jason Tatum, you would think. And there's going to be a lot of talk shows that lead with that topic. It's like, oh, how important really is Tatum when Brown comes in and they lose Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis and they're still one of the best teams in the East? If Brown isn't able to do it, then the pressure becomes onto him, and it's like, oh, you're being paid as one of the top players in the NBA, and despite being paid like one of the top players in the NBA, you can't lift this team in a weak East. I'm very curious to see how teams attack Jalen Brown when he's the number one option, and I'm interested. I think the whole Celtics will be very interesting to see how good they are, no matter the result. And I think we'll have something to say at least about Jalen Brown or Jason Tatum no matter the result. So I'm very curious how that unfolds.
You have two more, right?
One
Or
more,
one
and
more.
my number one is the New York Knicks and the pressure surrounding the New York Knicks. I've joked around about like, oh, we're going to win the East, we're going to win the NBA Finals and stuff like that, and I believe that. However, this team has the most pressure in the NBA to make the finals and win the finals. It's all lining up for you. You have what's considered a stacked team with Brunson, Towns, McHale, OG, Josh Hart, Mitch. Like everything on paper says you should make the NBA Finals. And you even fired your coach that led you to an Eastern Conference Finals. And I believe in Mike Brown, but if Mike Brown doesn't have immediate success, things are going to get very interesting. This is a team where it's like when there's teams that are Super Bowl or bust, NBA Finals or bust. This is an NBA or Finals or bust team. This is a team that if we are halfway through the season and we're like the 5 seed or the 4 seed, New York is going to get very, very, very restless. However, if we're the 1 seed and everything goes well and we're as good as I expect us to be, then New York is going to be very happy. And there's nothing better in the NBA when the Knicks are rolling and the Garden is active. And I'm a little biased when it comes to that, but the Knicks will be one of, in my opinion, the greatest, like the best teams to root for New York to get our one championship that's been eluding us for well, at least one. It's been a while. It's not like our first championship. I know
yeah.
that. This is a team where there is going to be so much pressure around every single player, every single coach on the team, and they're going to be expected to be a 1 or 2 seed and obviously roll through. Not roll through the playoffs, but at least make the NBA Finals. And if they don't, the storylines are going to be very interesting to say the least about everyone involved.
Gotcha. Okay. For me, we'll start with my number five. I think you talked about it earlier. Zion Williams. Can he lead the Pelicans to the playoffs? Last year, he had a really decent year. 24 points, 24.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, 5 assists. Um, I think he needs to amp up those numbers and also live up to that. What he was coming out of college that everyone thought he was going to be. I think he's had a decent career, but I think he needs to level up a little bit more. So we'll see where he goes from here because I think if he has another down year, we're gonna kind of forget him. Like we're gonna forget what he was. The number one seed or number one pick, and who he was coming out of college.
Or at the
Uh,
very least, it might be that like he'll be the most interesting trade piece going into either the offseason or the trade deadline, where someone will talk themselves into it, and then that'll be interesting within itself. If he leaves the Pelicans, does he maybe have newfound success or new expectations?
yeah. My number four. Who will LeBron pass the torch to? We've seen it age. He's we talked about at the beginning of the stream. He's sitting out. Who's that next superstar? Is it AGS? Is it Luka? Is it Wemby? Is it Giannis? Is it obviously Tatum and Hallenberg are not playing, but like who's that next guy that LeBron will pass the torch to? Because let's be honest, it doesn't really seem like if SGA wins MVP and takes the Thunder back to the play to the
The
finals and wins
finals?
them and wins, then he's that next guy. But let's say because it's happened before, Thunder get bounced in the second round of the playoffs. Is he that that's what I'm saying? And I know Ferris is like SGS. Is it SGS or SGA?
No, no, it's SGA. You said AGS.
Oh, agent. My apologies. Um, so is if he has the success that we think he's going to have this year, get to the finals, wins another championship, then 100% he's that next guy in line. But if he doesn't, then who's going to be there to pick up the torch? That's a big question for me. My third storyline: Kawhi Leonard. Will he be a Clipper by the end of the year? We talked about it in the last episode everything going on with the Kawhi Leonard, and the Clippers they just seem not to be doing anything. So is he going to be a Clipper at the end of the year? Is he going to be going to another team? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to sit out? A lot of story behind that. Is he going to get suspended? We'll know more once the season gets going. Um, my second one is the Eastern Conference that bad? Like we talked about it, even with the Celtics and Pacers, it feels like the Eastern Conference is only 4 deep, 5 deep, maybe. Whereas the West is like 8 deep, 9 deep, and there could be surprises. I feel like the Eastern Conference has always gotten a bad rap, and even when they won, like when the Celtics won recently, like nobody was like everyone was like, okay, you know. So is it that bad? And bringing up your number one point of the Knicks, can they take advantage of that? Can they take advantage of a bad Eastern Conference and get themselves into the finals? So I think that's a storyline to watch. And this one I kind of stole from Lunch Break Hot Take, and I don't know if you know this. I wasn't able to get the graphic, but can an American win the MVP? Prior to these 2020s MVPs, we had some sprinkling of international players winning MVP. Dirk Nowitzki, some other people. Can't think of the top of my head. But since the 2020s, Jokic, SGA, Giannis. Who am I forgetting here?
Embiid won one as well.
Embiid. They've all been foreign international players. So can an American bring back the MVP back to U.S. soil?
And one
I
of the
don't know.
people who's talked about it is Luka, and
Well,
is
Luca's
he?
Luca. He's Serb. He's
So even if
Serbian.
Luka wins, it wouldn't be wouldn't it
Yeah,
wouldn't it wouldn't. And if Wemby is a dark horse MVP, by the way, he's France,
French.
so
Yeah, so
it's going
that's an interesting storyline to watch. Coming
absolutely.
up soon. All right, Josh. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I think we covered everything. I hope everyone's as excited as we are for the start of the NBA season. I hope everyone's ready to witness the Knicks go on a spree. We're going to make a statement on our first week on the Cavs, hopefully. first game against the Cavs, and I'm very interested to see in general how the season plays out for the Knicks alone. But I think we got a lot of interesting teams, a lot of interesting storylines. I'm just excited for the season to start.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. And want to say thank you to everybody that joined us in the chat. I really appreciate it. Also, want to thank Josh for taking time on a Saturday. I know you're in New York, so it's a little like what 9 o'clock right now. It's barely
Yeah.
6 for me. So, but it is one of those days today. What is going on with my camera? Sorry, on my side, my camera looks weird. But really appreciate you. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Josh, anything you want to plug before we get out of here? I know you did. You guys just did the Shannon Barney uh, um, Schmodown.
Nostalgia crackdown.
Yeah, the nostalgia crackdown. Sorry, the other day. Anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Just plugging LGR. Like, comment, subscribe. You'll see me on the Nostalgia Crackdown once a month. You'll see me here once a month. So just supporting LGR, supporting me. So any way you can support this channel, would be fantastic.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, everybody. Like I said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it out to people. And if you enjoy this show, let us know in the comments what you'd like to see, what you'd like to hear. Let us know a starting five you'd like us to cover. We'll definitely do that. So really appreciate everybody. Hope you have a good night. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will talk to you next time.